So we've already talked about law of sines, and now we're going to discuss law of cosines and learn its formula. But I just want to quickly recall that when you're given two angles and a side that is not included, or two angles and a side that is included, or two sides and the angle that is not included, you're going to be using law of sines. So you'll be using law of sines. So if this is your given information, if you are given that situation, then you're going to use law of sines. And if you are given three side lengths or two side lengths and the angle between, so this time the angle is included, then you'll be using law of cosines. And law of cosines, it's a pretty cool law. It has cosine in it, and it says a squared equals b squared plus c squared, remembering that c is, well, c could be any side. It doesn't have to be the largest side. So c could be any side. So you've got three sides, a squared, so you've got a, b, c, c. So you've got a squared plus equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times the cosine of angle A. Now, you say, what happens if you've got like a situation where you've got a and b, right? So if you've got a and b, then you're going to have c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times the cosine of angle C. And then you say, well, what happens if you have a and c, right? And you're trying to find side b. Then b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c times the cosine of angle B. So the relationship here is that the cosine of the angle is across from the side A, which is on the other side of the equal sign. So these two will always go together, right? Those two will always go together. And then you're going to have b squared, c squared, and then you're going to have b times c right there. Pretty cool law. So it only takes a couple times of practicing it to try and get it right. So like right in your mind where you've got it memorized. So here we've got solve the triangle, and they're giving us three side lengths. Now, it's very important that we try and find the largest angle first. So we want to try and find the largest angle first. And the reason being, and you can explore this on your own, the reason being is because if you don't, then you may end up with the ambiguous case. So you may end up with the ambiguous case of the law of sines later on. So we want to avoid that at all costs. Remember, we don't want to go there, because when they give you three side lengths, there is only one triangle that's going to work. So you don't have to worry about, is there no triangle, one triangle, three triangles. That's only going to happen with the ambiguous case of the law of sines, which is side, side, angle. This is side, side, side. So we've got a side, and we've got another side. And sometimes I make up problems where it doesn't even make a triangle. So we need to make sure 8 plus 14 is greater than 19. Check. We've got a triangle. So now we need to find the largest angle first. So the largest angle is going to be angle B. Angle B. So since I want to find angle B, I'm going to use b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c times the cosine of angle B. So you write that down a couple times and you're golden. Now I'm going to substitute values in. 19 squared equals 8 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 8 times 14 times the cosine of angle B. Now I'm going to try and do everything I can without a calculator, because you know me, I'm a little lazy when it comes to walking 2 feet to get my calculator. So I've got 19 squared minus 8 squared minus 14 squared, and that's going to equal the negative 2 times 8 times 14 times the cosine of angle B. And then I'm going to divide by negative 2 times 8 times 14. So now I'm ready to put this into my calculator. And what I'm going to put into my calculator is angle B is equal to inverse cosine of this fraction. 19 squared. Notice I know what 19 squared is, but notice how I'm not going to calculate it. And the reason I'm not going to calculate it is because if I make a little mistake here, it's going to make the whole problem wrong. So since I'm picking up my calculator anyway, I'm going to let my calculator do all the work. So here I'm going to put this into my calculator. B equals, and I find that B is approximately, and go ahead and use your calculator to find this out. B is approximately, well, 19 squared minus 8 squared minus 14 squared over negative 2 times 8 times 14. That's going to give me a negative value. And inverse cosine of a negative is going to put me in quadrant 2. So I assume that this is going to be between 90 and 180 degrees, and I'll find that I'm correct. I get about 116.8 degrees. Make sure you store that, store the value, so that we get the same answers in the end. Now we're going to use the law of sines, and that's where your ambiguous case comes in if you don't find the biggest angle. So we want to avoid that. Remember, we want to avoid that. So now I'm going to use my stored value. I'm going to have side A over sine of angle A. Well, I know what side A is. It's 8 feet. So 8 over the sine of angle A is equal to B, which is 19, over the sine of the stored angle, right? So that's stored. Angle B is equal to 14 over the sine of angle C. So I'm going to probably just solve for A first. 8 times the sine of angle B divided by 19 is equal to the sine of angle A. I'm going to use my inverse property, and I would definitely press pause here. See if you can put it into your calculator and see if you can get the same answer I get. Okay, I got 22.1 degrees. And now I can use angle A plus angle B plus angle C equals 180 degrees to find the measure of angle C. So I can take 180 minus that exact value of angle A minus the stored value of angle B, and my angle C is 41.1 degrees. So I'm going to rewrite angle B right here so I can box it all together. And those are my 3 angles. Now I'm going to do a quick check. Smallest side, smallest angle. Agreed. Largest side is side B, across from the largest angle. Yeah. And then we have the side that's in the middle has an angle that's in between the smallest and the largest. So our answer makes sense. In our next video, we're going to work on this try. So we are going to provide the answer for this try. So here's the problem. You're going to go ahead and write it down and work it out. When you're ready to reveal the answer, you can play the next video.